What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again today. And we have a BFR number 1 on the regular season, the tank hard for Bedard season, or as I like to call it, will not say it on camera. Debating whether or not to make it the title, but here we go. Game 1 against the Colorado Avalanche in Colorado. Same thing as last year, only difference was the score, the players who scored, and the way the order the goals were scored. Colorado was raising their Stanley Cup banner, and Jack Johnson took part of it, and he had his own tribute video during the first period as well. So that was a very nice thing. He was the one Blackhawk in a bunch of Colorado jerseys, so that was pretty cool to see. He was included right in with the team, even though he did sign with Chicago. And Landeskog was also out with an upper body injury. He was at the ceremony in uniform, but he did not partake in the game. The game was played on October 12th, starting at 8:30 p.m., basically right after I finished my flight. And let's get right into this. So Colorado wins 5-2. Not unexpected. Chicago moves to 0-1. They were outshot 35-17. They had about 5 shots 28 minutes in. The hits were 33-32 Chicago. Faceoffs were 30-19 in favor of Chicago. 36 actually. Power play 2 for 3 in favor of Chicago. Power play was 2 for 3 for Chicago. For Colorado, 4 for 6. It was bad. Mrazek saves 30 out of 35. Can't really put a lot of blame on him. Georgiev 15 out of 17. Wins his debut with the Avalanche. The lines were as followed. First line, Athanasiou, Domi, Kane. Second line. Sorry about that. If I seem a little exasperated, well, it's been about a little less than an hour. And I'm finally back, so my bad. But yeah, we were going through the lines. Athanasiou, Domi, Kane, first line. Tyler Johnson, Taze, and Radish on the second line. Kurashev, Lafferty, and Entwistle on the third. Buddy Robinson, who we picked up. I did not think he was going to make the lineup, but he did. Jujhar Khaira and Colin Blackwell on the fourth. On the defense, you had Jack Johnson and Seth Jones. Jack Johnson obviously returns home. Tenorti, who we claimed off waivers, Jared Tenorti, and he played with Murphy since we don't have McCabe or Caleb Jones. And then we had Christian Roos, who also made the lineup against, I think it was it Christian Roos? I think it was Christian Roos, with Regula on the third pair. Our goalies for this year, Mrazek and Stalock. Only Mrazek would play this game. Well, let's get right into this now. So, onto the gameplay. So, Colorado pressures to start. Mrazek was incredible the first 10 minutes of the game. It could have been 3-4-0 quite early on in that game. Mrazek then had another save on McKinnon, good save on Makar. McDermott, 2 big hits on Regula. Mrazek then robs McKinnon. Makar just misses the net. But at 12:41, it's a Chicago penalty to Tyler Johnson for slashing, which would be killed. One of the 2 penalties that would be killed. But then at 6:16, it's a Colorado goal onto the deflection. Their one goal that didn't come on the power play. It's Andrew Cogliano opening up the scoring, his first of the season from McKinnon and Devon Taze to make it 1-0. Then the 5:38, it's a Colorado penalty to Rodriguez for slashing, and the Hawks would actually make them pay, as at 4:08, it's a Chicago power play goal from Jonathan Taze. It would not take him, I think, was it 20 games, 15 to 20 games like it did last season to get his first of the year, from Kurashev and Athanasiou. It was a great play. Athanasiou gave it to Kurashev. Taze was wide open on the other side with a wide open net. There was no way Georgiev was getting over. Kurashev just sauces it over, a no-look pass to Taze. Perfect, bang, in, 1-1. And I'm worried at this point, because I'm thinking losses are what we want here. We want Bedard. We want one of those top picks. So, as I want the Hawks to lose this year. Like my dad says, they're not going to win 10 games this year. I'm thinking, I hope they don't win 10 games this year. That would be fantastic. It would make it almost impossible that we wouldn't be the worst team in the league. Anyway, and then at 3:53, right after the Chicago tying goal, it's a Chicago penalty to Entwistle for high sticking. And then at 2:53, a minute in, it's a Colorado deflection goal from Valeri Nichushkin on the power play. His first of the season from Rantanen and Lehkonen to make it 2-1. Little did we know at the time, but Rantanen would be in for a pretty good night with 4 assists on the night. Nichushkin would also have 2 goals, Lehkonen 2 goals. Lehkonen had added an assist here. McKinnon with another couple assists. Makar as well. It's a pretty good night for some of the Avs players. Then Murphy was not happy and is given a whack at 155 when he gets a tripping call. He was given a whack for not being happy with the tripping call. It was tripping. I'm not sure what it was. Kind of accidental, clearly, but it would be killed, and that would be the last power play that they would deny as a goal. McKinnon also had a one-timer that was denied. Start of the second period. Colorado starts with 6 seconds of power play. McKinnon hits the post, and then at 17 minutes, it's a Chicago penalty to Regula for hooking. And at 16:11, power play goal to Artturi Lehkonen, his first season from McKinnon, and Rantanen to make it 3-1. And at this point, I knew the game was out of hand. We had the loss because there was no way the Hawks were getting up to 3 goals. Because Colorado, I didn't write it down, but Colorado, overwhelming. As I said, the Hawks had 5 shots in the first 28 minutes. The Hawks couldn't get out of their zone. Seth Jones had consistent 3-minute shifts in this game. It was kind of sad. Colorado was not called for too many men on the ice. The Hawks were screaming at the refs. They didn't call it. And then at 10:40, it's a Chicago penalty to Taves for interference, and that was an awful call. That was brutal. Barely even touched Byram. Like, literally skated by him right in front of the net, battling possession. Just a little move get out of my way, little side shove, except it's just little, barely any contact. Gets called for interference, and then at 9:48, it's a Colorado deflected power play goal from Artturi Lehkonen. They had some great deflections. His second of the year now, and his second of the season, and his second of the game from Makar and Rantanen to make it 4-1. Tenorti then had a good defensive play that prevented a McKinnon breakaway. And at 1:37, it's a Colorado penalty to Rodriguez for interference, which would be killed. Chicago starts the third with 23 seconds on the power play. And at 19:21, right after that power play ends, it's a Colorado penalty to Lehkonen for high sticking. And then at 18:09 on that power play, it's a posted-in goal on a deflection on the power play from Max Domi. His first point as a Blackhawk. Athanasiou had his first point as a Blackhawk as well. His first of the season from Tyler Johnson and Kane. So Taves and Kane getting on the board. Tyler Johnson getting on there as well, some of their veterans. So that makes it 4-2. Tenorti then had a big hit on O'Connor. Athanasiou took Eric Johnson's knee to the face in a near-scary incident. It was no penalty or anything like that. Athanasiou slipped and Eric Johnson didn't have time to react, and his knee almost went right into his face. It could have been bad, but luckily Athanasiou was okay. Hawks for the first time had looked like they were the team in control. They had a boost, and for about 5 minutes they controlled the game. It was pretty strange. Mrazek made a kick save on Newhook and then Rodriguez. Georgiev had a pad save on Kane and Athanasiou. And then at 4-2, it's a Chicago penalty to Kara for tripping, which ended any hope of tying the game. And at 2:57, it really ended when a Colorado deflected power play goal from, once again, Valery Nichushkin with his second of the year from Makar and Rantanen to make it 5-2. And then with 1:28 to go, there's a fight between Lafferty and Manson. They both get 5 minutes for fighting. They exit the game. And that's your game, as that's game 1 of the season of 81 more to go because they're not making the playoffs. But other news from around the league, you got the standings up here. I got the board out for the first time. Edmonton comes back from 3-0 down against Vancouver, and they win 5-3. McDavid has a hat trick. Vegas beats LA in their first game. Anaheim beats Seattle, another come-behind win. They were down 3-1. They ended up winning that one in overtime, and Seattle gets a point in overtime. Calgary hasn't played yet. LA loses to Vegas. Vancouver to Edmonton. San Jose lost both games to Nashville in Prague for those 2 games, which is why Nashville is the best team in the league. Colorado wins. Arizona, Dallas, Minnesota, St. Louis, Winnipeg have not played. Chicago lost. Understandable. Boston beat Washington 5-2 last night. I think it was the only home team to lose. Washington. Montreal beats Toronto with about 20 seconds left. I think it was 18 seconds left, where Josh Anderson put in the winner there. Buffalo, Detroit, Florida, Ottawa have not played yet, and I don't think many people saw Toronto and Tampa being at the bottom of the standings to start the season. And you have Carolina, who beat Columbus, Rangers, who beat Tampa. That hasn't played. So yeah, that's really where we're at right now. So Game 2 tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights at 9 p.m. So we'll see how that goes. And that's going to be it for BFR Game 1 of the season against the Colorado Avalanche. Get ready for another 81, as my video total is probably getting up to probably about 400 by the end of this year with this now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.